Welcome back, Acellus learners. Ms. Hillman here in the studios bringing to you some great information about scientific classification. Scientific classification. Now let's break it down. Y'all know what scientific stands for and is, having to do with science. But classification, this is when we in biology, that's right, the study of living things, this is when we have a system of classes to break down to find out exactly what genus and species something that is alive is. Fantastic, right? Now here's what I'm going to introduce to you, the word taxonomy. Say that word, taxonomy. Taxonomy is the scientific term for scientific classification, and I think it sounds cooler. Taxonomy. Now, using taxonomy, there's some things that you have to know. First of all, using taxonomy, we use a language called Latin. Now, they say that Latin as a language is a dead language. I don't believe that at all, because we use Latin for all living things. So I think we're kind of reviving Latin a little. And scientists, we trust to use that language because it's very specific. Now, when we start talking about an animal on our earth, even this one, a human animal, we're mammals. We actually have a genus and species, Homo sapiens, that we can call ourselves to make sure of all the biological beings and things on our earth, that we as humans even have a genus and species. But there's a bigger picture than that. Are you ready? Lean forward, because I'm going to show you some images. Here we go. What does a beetle, a giant panda bear, a catfish, a fox, a polar bear, a grizzly bear, a rabbit, and a dandelion have in common? What do you have, ladies and gentlemen? They're all living things. Exactly. So we know by their names, if they're all living things, they're going to have a scientific classification attached to them. But we have a journey to go on right now, and I'm going to need you thinking, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to teach you a little trick using the first letter of several fun words together, a little sentence. If you remember this, you'll remember the steps of our taxonomy. Are you ready? Hold on, lean towards your screen here. King Philip, come out for goodness sake. I have to introduce to you the different steps of our classification. King is for kingdom. Now in our kingdoms, there are 6 major kingdoms. Philip stands for phylum. Now phylum, that's a little greater. And when we have mammals, there are 30 different types of mammal phylums that we usually place things into in about 10 plant phylums. Come has to do with class. The class that something falls into. And usually it's between 2 different classes. Out is for order. The order. And then we have F. 4 has to do with family. What family does it belong to? And now the final 2, ladies and gentlemen. Goodness stands for genus. Now genus is very specific. I'm going to teach you a trick about that in a moment. And our final one is sake. Sake has to do with species. Genus and species are the 2 that you're most frequently going to learn about, boys and girls. I'm going to be honest with you. The others fall into place, and it's essential that we know them. But genus and species, written in Latin. Genus is always written capitalized and italicized. That's right. I love italics because they stand off a page. So think about it. Okay, genus and species. Goodness sake, genus is always capitalized and italicized. Species is lowercase and italicized. So the term for humans, Homo sapiens, genus, Homo, sapiens, our species, look how it's spelled, capitalizing the genus and lowercase the species and italicized. Boys and girls, I want you to follow through one time as we use every step of King Philip. Come out, for goodness sake. We're going to start off with kingdom. Now I'm going to break this down for you. The words are going to be placed in front of you as well. Here we go. For kingdom, this animal, listen carefully because there's a clue in this. The kingdom of this animal is Animalia, therefore an animal. So I know it's not a plant. Second step, phylum. We called it Philip. Phylum. The phylum of this animal is Chordata. And that means an animal with a backbone. Chordata. So guess what? Beetle. We get to kick the beetle out. What about the class? Class of this mystery animal is Mammalia. There's a clue there. Mammalia. It is indeed a mammal. So I'm going to go ahead and kick out the catfish. He's no longer invited to the party. The order of this mystery animal is the Carnivora. Now wait a minute. Carnivora? Carne? We know carne in Spanish is meat. This is a meat-eating animal, so which one can I throw out? The rabbit. Let's get rid of the rabbit here because that's an herbivore, and actually it's actually going to be one that eats only plants, so rabbit's out. All right, let's keep going now. We have in this family the Ursidae family. Ursidae. Ursa. I'm reminding myself of Ursa Major, which is Big Bear constellation. We're talking about bears. This family right here, there are 3 bears left, so we're going to go ahead and kick out the fox. Now we have to go to genus and species. Let's find out of those 3 bears, which one the genus is different. When we're talking about the genus, it's the Ursus. Not Ursidae, Ursus. Once again, bear, but Ursus is very specific as a genus. This is the type that has very certain eating and living habits. We're gonna boot the panda. Panda's out of there. And some of you are going, well, I can see that because panda even appears different than the behaviors of a polar bear and a grizzly. And now we're down to our species. This one is the one that separates it all. The species that we're speaking of, boys and girls, is the Maritimus, which happens to be Maritimus having to do with the water, our oceans. Which one, grizzly or polar, has to do with the Maritimus, maritime, mare, which means water? Our polar bear. Polar bear is our champion. Kingdom all the way to species, we just followed the classification that led us to our very own beautiful polar bear. Kind of a vicious little thing, but they sure are cute. Ladies and gentlemen, taxonomy is awesome, and it's a definite great step when you want to study biology to make sure everything has its proper name in Latin. Boys and girls, I love taxonomy. I love chatting about science. Science rocks. Until next time.